We'll be going on the Erie Canal and Mohawk River in this episode. Once we leave Troy, the first lock is only a short distance. In fact, you can see the dam from the Troy Town Marina. We're a little nervous about running the locks. Even approaching the lock was a little intimidating at first. The lock looked so small compared to the long dam. This first lock is a long lock. You kind of feel like you're in a deep valley. I thought water would be gushing in and pushing us out, but it was really an easy transition. At this point, you can go north to the Champlain Canal or west to the Erie Canal. Either way, you'll need to stop at Waterfront or a season pass. As we planned on returning, it was more economical to obtain a seasonal pass.
When people hear about the Erie Canal, it has sort of a magical sound for them. Everybody knows the song about 15 miles on the Erie Canal. So they have some kind of context for thinking about this great waterway that developed actually in New York State. And the Erie Canal is part of a whole system of waterways that we have here in New York. Water is controlled via a system of locks and dams, so that at the places where you need to change elevation, where there might be a waterfall, you'll find a lock to raise and lower the level of the water so that you can get past the waterfall.
We docked in Waterford and walked up to the top of the hill to the lock office to obtain our pass.
Each section of the canal, each of the 4 canals, has its own system for numbering the locks, so that if you're on the Champlain Canal and you look at the charts, you'll find that the locks are numbered C1, C2, all the way up to Lake Champlain. The Oswego Canal is a little bit interesting because when they originally surveyed it, they arranged for a certain number of locks, and once they started digging, they realized they didn't need all those locks, so there's one fewer lock. The sequence is out of whack by 1 lock. So when you go through, don't worry, you haven't missed a lock. There's one missing. On the Erie Canal, it's just a little bit different because the first lock actually is a federal lock at Troy, and that doesn't have an Erie Canal number. It's Troy Federal Lock 1, I believe. And then as you continue westbound, you get to the flight of locks at Waterford, which are the first ones actually on the Mohawk River section of the Erie Canal, and the first lock is number 2.
The flight takes you up over 168 feet. All total, we'll be going up 390 feet. Then in Rome, New London, we start our descent to Oneida Lake. Midship, and I would pull along the wall. Once Sherry got the line, I would go to the aft and grab a line. Later, one of the lock tenders mentioned that a lot of people will have one person amidship and someone stays at the helm. When the bow or stern moves out, the helmsperson simply pivots the boat to keep it in place. We tried that on the next lock, and it worked out great. That was the method we used the rest of the locks. The way the locks work is very simple. Water will always find its leveling point. There are no water pumps at all. It all works off of gravity. There are large pipes under the canal that come up in the lock from the bottom. and these pipes extend to the sides and then go to the up and down side of the waterway. Then there are large valves that open and close. Thus, to fill the lock, the upstream valve is open and the downstream is closed. Gravity causes the upstream water to fill the lock through these pipes. This is a gradual process, and there is virtually no turbulence. In fact, since the water comes up from the bottom, it actually helps push the boat to the sides of the lock. Then to empty the lock, the process is reversed. After the first lock, we decided to use the lines on the sides of the canal. They have lines tied to the top of the lock wall that go all the way to the bottom of the lock. The lines have a weight on them so that they don't float.